Well, g'day curd nerds. Welcome back to another Ask the Cheeseman session. This is session 8. We've got 3 questions today, so let's get to it, shall we? The first one is from Phoenix2MN from YouTube. Phoenix asks, "Hi Gavin, I recently listened to your podcast on starter cultures and moulds. I'm still a little bit confused about which to use. I have a couple of books that are very specific on the type of Mesophilic." Brackets, she lists a few there. Mesophilic 1, Mesophilic 2, Mesophilic 3, C101, MO30, etc. to use. Right now, all I have is C101. Can I use that for all the recipes that call for Mesophilic, or should I be getting these different strains? Thanks. Well, the answer to that, so C101 is a Mesophilic culture sold by New England Cheesemaking Supplies over there in the US. And it's actually a pretty good all-rounder as far as Mesophilic cultures goes. It has similar strains to the one I use on most of my videos, which is MO30 by Sacco. Both these contain the same strains of bacteria, which are Lactococcus lactis subspecies lactis and Lactococcus lactis subspecies cremoris. So those two bacteria, or lactic bacteria, are the ones that give the cheese the final properties it has. It converts the converts the lactose into lactic acid. And they're good for cheeses such as cheddar, Monterey Jack, Stilton, Edam, Gouda, Munster, any other sorts of blue cheeses, and Colby. I also use them for cheeses, English-style cheeses based on the cheddaring process, like Leicester, Derby, Gloucester, those sorts of cheeses. It's a good all-rounder. Don't get this confused with aromatic Mesophilic culture, because that actually has 2 more strains of lactic bacteria in them, which creates not only a lovely aroma, but a more buttery taste in the mouth. So where it says use aromatic Mesophilic, search down some. There are quite a few on the market. Some we hold in our store, MO36R by Sacco, which is an aromatic Mesophilic. And Floridanica is another one, made by CHR Hansen. So hopefully that answers your question, Phoenix. Thanks for sending it in. There's another question by Tom. And Tom says, sometimes there are lots of bubbles, probably CO2, in my cheese. Where is the mistake? Acidity, question mark. After draining, by hanging in cotton cloth, I press it for some time and then take it out to salt it and let it drain for 1 day before putting it into salty water. During the period of pressing and drying into shape, it is already developing a lot of small bubbles inside. The temperature during that time is always constant, but I'm thinking it is influenced by the quality of the rennet that may not be constant, and I also suspect that it might be the acidity of the milk, because our goats are fed 90% outdoors in a forest and field, and and the season leaves or grasses they are eating could affect the milk quality / acidity. We do not cook the milk, we just warm it up fresh around 35 Celsius before putting in a rennet. Rightio. So a bit difficult to diagnose, but we'll give it a go, Tom, and we'll see what it's like. All right. So it sounds to me, and this has happened to me before. If you check out my video when cheese fails, and have a look at the Parmesan that grew a big CO2 bubble in the middle. I diagnosed that because I think it got infected by a bacteria or a yeast known as chloriforms or candida in the milk. So these are bacteria and yeast, and they actually produce CO2. What you can do to stop that from happening is you may have to pasteurize the milk before using it, and then introduce a starter culture. Let that acidify the milk, and then add your rennet. It can also be a case of inadequate acidification in the milk, because what that does is cause more whey retention, which allows a more favourable environment for these sorts of organisms to produce gas or CO2 within the cheese. So what you could do is increase the amount of starter culture to overcome the low acidity of the cheese. So that should work. Thanks for the question, Tom. The next one is from Bob, and Bob sent this in via email. Says, "Hi Gavin, I've just made Jarlsberg twice, and each time the wax cheese swells like yours in the video, but then receded. So when I opened it, the eyes were tiny and horizontal. Did I wait too long to open, or what might be the cause? Thanks very much." Well, this actually happened to me when I was making Emmentaler, or Emmental, which is a Swiss type cheese, Alpine type cheese, which actually has eyes as well. So what I recommend is instead of waiting, I think it was about 6 weeks at room temperature, about 18 degrees Celsius, mature it at the room temperature 18 degrees Celsius for 4 weeks instead of 6, and then put it back into the cheese cave at 13 degrees Celsius or 55 Fahrenheit, and that'll not only slow down the production of CO2, it'll actually make sure that the paste doesn't get too flexible or too runny, so it doesn't then fall back on itself. Hopefully then you won't lose your eye formation, which is a good thing. That's my main suggestion. Now, if you think it is swollen up so much and you do start to see it deflate, if you really want to stop any of the propionic shamani development, which produces the CO2 eyes in your cheese, pop it back in the normal kitchen fridge overnight to cool it down to 4 degrees Celsius, and then you can pop it back in the cheese fridge, and hopefully it won't collapse on you, and you'll still have lovely eyes in your cheese. Well, that's all the questions we've got for this episode. If you want to see how I made the Jarlsberg that I just mentioned there, you can click through here to this video. And also don't forget that we do have a shop where we sell cultures and all things cheesy called littlegreenworkshops.com.au, and you can click through here to check out all the cheese goodies in our shop. Well, thanks for watching once again, Curd Nerds, and I'll see you next time.